Welcome back to YouTube, everyone. It's another English episode again, and I think the last feedback was quite positive. Kuba, how are you? I saw you did an episode with Chris and Danny also in between.
Yeah, I'm great, man. I enjoyed it. It was a great conversation, to be honest. So I very much enjoyed it. It's nice to always talk about the stuff that we are passionate about, right? Because as you know yourself, right, when you are surrounded by people that are not on the same mission, the same vibe as you, it's very different. And then when you get an opportunity to speak to people that have the same passion, share the same interest, it's also very different. So it's always good to have conversations with people that, you know, share the same views and share the same passions. And unfortunately, it's like I do have a lot of great people around me that also do share the same views and same passions, but not to the same degree, to the same extent, if that makes sense. So it was great, man. I enjoyed it.
Great. No, it's I think I've also talked a lot about environment management in the past, I would say, and the people surrounding yourself, not just for bodybuilding purposes, also for business success and everything else. It's just such a defining topic for your whole life if you're surrounded by the wrong or the right people.
I completely agree. You are a product of your environment, and whoever you are surrounding yourself with or even communicating with on a daily basis makes a big difference. And that's something I've realized myself in past. It's like the second I cut out the people that was negative, the second I cut out the people that wasn't really as driven, it pushed me forward. So very often, unfortunately, it can be even as far as your family members. You know, if you know that somebody's having a negative impact on you in any way, shape, or form, they have no place in your life, because we only get one life, right? If you only get one life, make sure you surround yourself with the people that are going to be not only standing by you, but supporting you and pushing you, not trying to drag you down or, you know, share negativity. And I think, man, mentally and physically, it has such a positive impact. So absolutely. Food for thought before we begin today. begin today's fun video.
Yeah. It's also, maybe it will be also kind of philosophic. So it was basically your suggestion to look into a training video of Dorian Yates and Mark Dugdale. So what brought you to that video?
So I actually watched Think Big. Again, myself and Scott do have a bit of a share in Think Big, where we do run our own podcast, or part of the podcast. Scott is a pioneer, well, I would say, when it comes to bodybuilding podcasts. So massive shout out to Think Big and all the podcasts that he has on the channel. It's amazing. I watch it very often. It's one of my favorite channels. And funnily enough, one of my favorite shows on there with Dusty and Ron, they actually reviewed, or shall we say, did a reaction to Dorian Yates and Mark Dugdale's training. And I was watching it. I was like, Jesus Christ, all of the things that Dorian is talking about is quite literally everything that people now would view as evidence-based training. This is exactly why I wanted to. And look, our video is not going to be a reaction. Our video is going to be over a breakdown of what Dorian is actually saying and how much it aligns with the latest research and how much it aligns with our thought process. And even the small little things like resistance profiles, like Dorian, whether he knew or not, he was such a pioneer in how he adjusted the training, how he modified it. Because let me tell you one thing. If Dorian, for example, had access to machines that was heavy in the stretch, I don't think Dorian would be doing the sets that he did, taking the set past failure. Fact of the matter is, the way, and we're gonna break this down in the video, but this is just an example, just to get listeners going. Guys, pay attention to the way Dorian had Leroy spot him on the hammer strength pieces. The second Dorian hit that sticky point on the hammer strength press where it gets heavy in that shortened range, that is when Leroy would then step in and give him assisted reps. So essentially, all that Dorian did was basically even out the resistance profile on a machine that doesn't have a great resistance profile, making it better. So it wasn't like he was necessarily getting force reps. It's more so the machine's super light at that portion of the rep. He was just getting reps that assisted him to get through that point where he has that sticking point in the shortened range. So I would even argue, to a degree, having assisted reps on machines like this probably wouldn't be as fatiguing as it would be on something that is heavy in the stretch.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
man, he was just so above and beyond his time. So I wanted to review some of the training that he did with Mark, because a lot of that we speak about, Dorian actually put in place with Mark. And I know that even if us to watch Blood and Guts now, and the reason why I don't want to watch Blood and Guts is because Dorian doesn't do any dialogue in that video. But in this video, Dorian actually speaks about the thought process behind warm-up work, behind rep ranges. And it's going to really have a lot of light bulb moments switch in people's minds, because this is where we want to bridge the gap between what people think is evidence-based and what is realistically the stuff that we have always done, or the stuff that Dorian did in the 90s. Like, it's just simple quality stuff that makes training better, not worse.
Yeah, and I think a lot gets lost in translation. I mean, even if we look at I would say the godfathers of Dorian, kind of, at least. I mean, if we look at Mike Mansour before he went sideways and trained every 14 days and something like that. Oh. I mean, Arthur Jones, Nautilus machines.
Oh man,
it's far. Everyone in that line was far beyond their time.
I completely agree.
So
I completely agree.
I also have a lot of scientific points from Dorian in mind, but I assume most of them will be mentioned. So let's just jump into it. I will share the screen. We will have a look.
Whilst you're doing that, Fabi, I just want to mention one thing as well. A lot of people think that Dorian was very, very low volume. When you actually count all of the working sets that Dorian did and the frequency he trained at as well, it wasn't really low volume. People often forget Dorian actually started with an upper lower split. Then he transitioned into almost like a modified push-pull leg split. And a lot of people are under the impression that Dorian trained 4 days per week. That's just not the case. When you actually listen to Dorian's interviews and listen to stuff that he posts, or watch the stuff that he posts, Dorian actually trained with frequency of 2 days on, 1 day off. Yeah. So it wasn't 4 days per week. It was chest, bicep, I think back and traps, and then it was legs, shoulders, tricep, rest, or no, shoulders, tricep, legs, rest, repeat. So it was 2 days on and 1 day off. It wasn't 4 days per week. So his frequency was higher, but also his training volume was actually a little bit higher than people actually realized.
I mean, he was, what do we have to say? I mean, what we aren't doing today, not sure if he's mentioning it. I mean, it's also his latest warm-up sets were also, I would say, pretty heavy already. And that's what I always said. And I mean, maybe what won't be mentioned in the video. It's just a general misunderstanding regarding training. If we look at Dorian with one really heavy warm-up set and one working set taken beyond failure, compare it to 4 working sets of Jay Cutler with 2 to 4 reps in reserve.
Same thing.
Ends up at roughly at the same point of effective stimulating reps. It's just the overall model is different. But I would say the net stimulus, not talking about fatigue, but the net stimulus is quite comparable.
I completely agree. And then it ultimately comes down to preference, right? Jay loved training that way. Dorian loved training that way. And the only difference is, realistically, you get the same outcome with a bit of a different route to take there. But look, we can argue there's different genetic predispositions to higher volume or lower volume training. But I would argue if Jay Cutler had the ability to train like Dorian mentally, it would be the same thing. He would look the same.
100% agree. I mean, it's also that's something that's bothering me. It's this perception you have to find out how your body works. I mean, to a certain degree, yes, and to a certain degree, volume and everything else won't be the same. Preference won't be the same for everyone. But this is like saying you have to find out if you need 3 grams of protein per kilogram body weight or 3 grams of fat. No,
you just know it works. It fucking works. And the thing is, it's like, man, do you know what? You made a great point there. Everyone is different, yes, but not to that degree.
Yeah,
we know what works. It's like, I don't need to find out if chicken is going to fucking do the job. We just know it does the job. The fact of the matter is, some people might not digest the chicken as well, so they'll have fish. But again, same thing. The fish will provide you the same thing as the chicken will. So everyone's different, but not that different. Let me promise you guys.
Not that much. And also, I mean, maybe something just also before we jump into the video, why was Dorian able to be so evidence-based? Because a whole lot of the evidence is old. A whole lot of physiology is 60s, 70s, 80s. And I mean, yes, there is new learnings today, but I would say there is more training studies and so on, because basic physiology hasn't changed, because the human body is still working the same way as it was in the 50s, 60s and 70s.
I have to agree completely.
Freunde, kurze Werbeunterbrechung für Vitaminversand24.com und German Elite Nutrition. Bei uns bekommt ihr Supplements in Top-Qualität zu Top-Preisen von euren Basics wie Omega-3, Magnesium, Zink, D3. Schaut im Shop vorbei, da könnt ihr euch mit allem eindecken und wirklich viel Geld sparen, bis hin zu Spezialprodukten wie einem Intra, wie zum Beispiel auch Heart oder Liver Essentials. Ihr bekommt alles und ich habe was Besonderes für euch im Gepäck. Und zwar verlose ich ab sofort jeden Monat unter allen Bestellungen mit Code Fabian 5 Einkaufsgutscheine à 150 €. Das Einzige, was du dafür tun musst, ist mir einen Screenshot von deiner Bestellung mit Code Fabian an fabian@fh91-coaching.de schicken und du bist automatisch im Lostopf mit dabei. Damit sparst du Geld, supportest den Content und kannst automatisch noch einen schönen Einkaufsgutschein gewinnen. Dementsprechend danke für deinen Support und jetzt weiterhin viel Spaß mit dem Content. So let's jump into it. So we skipped a bit forward when Mark meets Dorian. I haven't seen the video. I will put it for you guys in the description if you want to see the whole video. Let's go, and I will you stop or I stop. Let's see.
Yeah.
This gym I really trained in.
So you're kind of on a contest out now?
Well, it's tough.
Yeah. Just training to failure, or you're going beyond failure, or
Yeah, beyond failure all the time.
yeah, okay. Speaking from experience, I got all my major injuries. I got to like coming up to a contest because your food intake's limited, and you're doing more cardio. Your energy levels are lower. You may be slightly dehydrated and everything. And your ability to recover from the workouts is going to be less. We'll go beyond failure on maybe one exercise.
I think that's the first point already.
Straight away, bro. Straight away, it's almost like, wow. Go on.
And
I'll let you
because,
start.
I mean, I was raised that way also. When I did my first prep, it was 2015.
Yep.
I was also raised that way. Last weeks before the prep, do supersets, increase the volume, do drop sets, burn yourself out, burn extra calories.
Yep.
That's how I was raised.
And the reason why a lot of people, and I'm actually going to do a talk on this next week at a seminar in UK. Beyond the Stage TV's doing this big seminar. I'm going to talk on this on managing training, especially in a contest prep. And I think you see this now with a lot of top pros that lose a lot of size in prep. They start to train light. They start to train for high reps. And Dorian literally just summed it up. You are doing cardio. You don't have the same energy levels. You don't have the same recovery capacity. And Dorian even literally says now, like, the majority of his injuries came from not pulling back when he should have done.
Yeah.
So straight away, he's opening up with something that we also preach, and people literally say, oh, you know, you shouldn't do that. You just stick to what, you know, stick to those proven methods. But like, hold on a minute. The person that you admire the most is actually saying you should pull back when it comes to training volume. Yeah. Because again, he's talking training intensity and volume is the same thing. He's actually talking about pulling back to training volume when you are dieting, which is what we say.
And it's also, I mean, it's for, just as a side note, that's true for so many statements from idols where the people just hear what they want to hear. It's also comes back to Lee Haney, stimulate or don't initiate. So it's also, I mean, it's also just always taken out of context. The statements are used where they are suitable and ignored where they aren't.
Yeah. Right, press play.
Let's go.
The size of the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, if someone was telling me that back in the day,
I probably wouldn't listen, but if I could do it again, that's probably one thing that I would do. For me, I never need a coach to tell me what to do. I never need a nutritionist to tell me what to do, because I'll figure that all out myself. And maybe I could have been doing with somebody to say, look, you don't need, you know, that's enough. Right, we need to stop now, or, you know, we're coming up to the contest now, you're just maintaining, so you don't need to be risking injury for some muscle growth that's not going to happen anyway.
Right.
So why put yourself in that danger zone?
Right.
You know, so you can maybe benefit from my experience there.
Is the video clear your side?
There, we're still going to kick your ass in the gym.
Is the video clear your side?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I can see if I can pull it up a bit.
No, because for me, it's just breaking up a little bit. That might just be the riverside thing.
I think that's
okay.
that's the live upload. Yeah,
Oh, that's
should
all
be,
good.
should be
That's
clear
all
in
good.
the end. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, let's keep it.
Yeah,
All right.
so,
Sounds
all right.
good.
I want to start getting warmed up a little bit. Do a little bike, body temperature up.
Sure.
Yeah. Whatever you want, man. You ever do a rest pause?
Actually, I've been doing a lot of that.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 reps and back it on, and do 2 and 1. And
What I was doing lately has been like, if 3:15's my set,
yeah,
I'll do 6 to 10, rack it, rest like 20 seconds,
yeah.
take it off, do about 4, rack it, rest 20 seconds.
Yeah, but then you're going a little too high in the reps. You got to wait, but you could do maybe 3 or 4 reps with.
Okay.
3 or 4 reps, rack it, 10, 15 seconds. Maybe you get 2 more, rack it, maybe another 1. So you totally end up being like 8 to 10 reps. Which
I didn't assume that it would be so much on point.
Bro, it's killing it. And do you know what? Everything he says in this video, it's like boom, boom. It essentially is saying, keep the fucking loading the same. Keep the load high, low repetitions. And if you are going to use a set extension, use rest pause sets and use the same load. Do not do drop sets.
Yeah. Yeah, and also
Which is,
keeping...
I mean,
he's looking at a total rep count. He's not looking at the rep count of the first set, but what's the total rep count after the last rest pause set?
yep. And he's saying total reps of 8 to 10 reps.
Yeah. It's wild.
is
Okay.
ideal, you know, for muscle growth.
Okay. What's up with all these guys doing like 15 reps?
It's more like maintaining, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you do 15 reps on legs, maybe you're going to get some stimulation out of that. But upper bodies, you're going to get much more out of it in between 6 and 10 reps generally. You want to maintenance is easy, so yeah, you can do that with 15 reps. But
Yeah.
you're not going to get, you know, you're going to get a little bit of muscle growth stimulation, a little bit of endurance from that. Let's just do some general warm-up now, some light weights,
All right.
few presses, few overhead presses, some laterals, some push downs.
Okay.
Very light weights, 15 to 20 reps, just get some blood in the whole upper body area before we move on to that specifically. We'll do a little bit of rotor cuff stuff as well. Do you ever do that? We'll do that.
The cool thing about training with Dorian was it was similar to how I already train. To me, it makes sense to train the muscle as hard as you can in the shortest amount of time.
We've got this shoulder horn. So it locks you in there. So with the rotor cuff, there's no other muscles involved.
I mean, also the whole thing, I think he also did it back in the day. Also, any awareness about rotator cuff work and everything else, and also the machine, so to say, or the attachment that he's using there. I think even when this video was released and not during the original Dorian times, that wasn't too common to have a look at stuff like that.
I think this is like 2008, 2009. I mean, and you've got to remember, what Dorian is actually talking about here, it's all the stuff that he did in his prime. It's not, he wasn't quoting anything new that he learned. It's all the stuff that he did back in the day, which is just crazy. It's literally 90% of the stuff that Dorian did and says, it's what we actually implement within our own training with some slight differences with, we have better machines, for example, so that we don't do the set extensions, etc. And instead of doing rest pause sets and intensifiers, we just simply do an extra working set.
Yeah. And you could still make an argument that that's really a rather small difference. You could still even do it that way today and as a choice of preference. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I think if we're talking about optimizing, maybe there is a slight difference, but it's still so close.
Absolutely. And the only difference is I think instead of doing the rest pause set, doing the additional set is probably safer long term as well, which is exactly what Dorian himself actually said numerous times, that he wishes he removed the intensifiers, especially in a contest prep, because that is actually what caused him injuries. It was never the way he trained, because the way he trained was actually pretty incredible. His execution, I mean, was epic. Every movement was controlled, you know, controlling end ranges, like all the things that we'll talk about regards to execution and control. Dorian also implemented, like something we spoke about with leg extensions, right? Is taking the pause in the short end range. You watch a video of Dorian from Blood and Guts. What does he do? Every rep is fucking paused. Boom, boom, boom. So it's, man, I love it. So good.
Let's see what comes out of here.
Okay.
It's a good idea to strengthen the rotor cuff up, because you're lifting that much weight through the pecs and the delts. Eventually they'll get overpowered and overstrained. You only need really light weights. I bought it from Germany, but they have them in the States called the shoulder horn.
Oh, really?
I think they advertise them Muscle and Fitness. I've seen them a few times. There's like a metal one though, it's not padded like that, but it's the same thing. It just locks it in there, so that's the only thing that can work. There's a rotor cuff. The elbow's back a bit, you know. Do these 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to protect yourself from possible injury in the future, you know. I'll do. Have you done some pressing, get some blood in there and stuff? Some dumbbell press maybe? We'll start with the incline then, fairly low, like about 25 degrees. You go too high, you're going to shift a lot onto the front delt.
And today, maybe the data is even that old, but today we know that anything above 30 degrees incline becomes more and more front delts, and that's exactly his boundary.
It's literally what we say now. And what do you see most common when people try and say, train your upper pecs? People often put the benches up like 40, 45 degrees. And it's that, especially as you are bigger, when you do press with like anything above 30, 35 degrees, 40-degree angle, when you are bigger, it will literally be just a front delt and a clavicle press. It's not really it's not really a chest press anymore. Again, some differences with the structure of your rib cage, yes, but as a rule of thumb, I think for most people, I mean, 30-degree for me is even like a very, very high incline. For me, I think when it comes to just trying to press for the pec, 20 degrees is perfect. 20 degrees is exactly where I want to be. So for my rotation at the moment, it's 20 and 30. Even 10 degrees, I'm much stronger in 10 degrees. So I want to get strong at the high degrees. But man, it's like the stuff he's saying here, it's so good, because hopefully now people watch this and they'll get a bit more of understanding that, look, what most educators that actually, or shall we say, what most people that look into evidence and pay attention to research, they are very much of the same opinion to everything Dorian's saying right now.
Yeah, 100%. And just something to add also for everyone working on their upper pecs. It's not just the angle of the bench, it's also the degree of abduction in your humerus. So you can also automatically increase upper chest activation by decreasing the degree of abduction of your humerus. That's also, and by that you can also go 0 degree with notably reduced abduction, and it will also force the upper pecs to work. So it's quite. I didn't expect these statements to be so much on point, but let's see where it goes. So, let me start.
Okay.
So I found that when I went to the States, a lot of the benches are just set. Yeah, like 40 degrees or something. It's way too much, you know. It's way too high. So I've got adjustable and keep it at a fairly low angle.
Okay.
More pec. To train to failure or beyond failure, a good training partner is essential. 4 reps is almost enough for them. Just you gotta have enough just to keep the rep moving, because if you stop and you get a static contraction, then you just die anyway. On the other hand, you don't want to like take too much off and defeat the purpose.
Right.
I see people in the gym, they got someone spotting from like the 2nd rep, you know.
Yeah.
The waste of time.
I think it's also, I mean, for me, even before I was working with more and more evidence, the main reason for me to not getting spotted is really just because it's, even with the good spotter, it's so hard to standardize it.
I used to get the spots like this, and it took my training partner probably 3 years to learn this. And back in the day, I trained with and I'm always going to give him credit, Tony Megson. He was, any of the British historians will know who Ian Harrison is. He was one of British bodybuilding legends. He was Ian Harrison's training partner, and they very much trained in a very similar fashion to Dorian. And I trained with him for 2 years straight and ran pretty much Dorian split. And he taught me how to spot perfectly, where for the first year, I was almost scared to train with him, because if I fucked up any of the reps where I didn't spot him the way I needed to, he would go crazy. He would shout, like, he would go like, what you know, it would literally scream at me. So I was petrified. So I learned very quickly how to spot perfectly where the reps are just moving, where you're just touching the bar to move the reps. But also, what you've got to remember, what Dorian's saying here as well, is when you don't let someone get to that point where they just die and you just keep the reps moving, that is also going to be much less fatiguing, because all you are doing then again, when you are giving that spot and assisted reps, for example, on even a barbell bench or a hammer strength piece, you are essentially just giving that assistance. And again, it's almost like doing a prime machine where that resistance is dropping off as you are getting to that lockout. And obviously, look, we both know that resistance is going to be heaviest, especially the barbell, more in the stretch. But still, the point really is the same. When you spot in such fashion, it's going to be less fatiguing in itself.
100%. And I think there's also something to good spotting that's just increasing motivation in the first place. So my longest training partner is also the one who really brought me into contest bodybuilding. And he was basically, when I was spotting him, he was barking at me not to touch the bar, bar. So in several years of training, I can count the occasions on one hand where I actually helped even 2%, because it was just for safety purposes. And that's also something that I like to do right now when I cue to my athletes. When you're spotting someone, try a visual cue first. So what I do very often, for example, when someone's doing flies, and I just put my hand in the middle of the chest and say, touch my hands. And suddenly they speed up again, because a visual orientation can already help to get more out of the rep. And so I'm just also trying to give cues to avoid touching the weight, but just motivating the person to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Work's a treat.
Yeah.
Time. Bring a chalk in my gym, making a mess of. I'm kidding, mate. You can do what you want in here. It's a real gym, man. Whatever it takes, you know. Ready? 2, 3. Go bar. Nice and tight. Squeeze. Good. Push. See, in Europe it's all kilos, but UK is not really, we're not like really European, so we still do pounds here as well. If you can visualize a big coiled spring being compressed, and then the bottom, let it go, you know, so nice and controlled all the way down, yeah? Up. Real bar. Boom. Yeah. 2. 3. A bit more rest on this one, yeah. 100%, yeah? This is the one. All the rest, bullshit. It's just warming up. It's the one that counts. Yeah? We're not creating momentum. We're not trying to swing it off. Tight and controlled, just like you're compressing all that power and then unleashing it. Think about it, and nice, get it right.
So let's go.
Nice and tight. Ready? 1, 2, 3, up. Go bar. Nice and strong. Watch it. Come on, let's go. Power. Yeah. Come on. Let's go. Big six. Push. Push 2. Come on. Push. There you go. Good. Good.
Squeeze it up, squeeze it up, squeeze it up. Right. Ready? Ready? See if we can't get 2 reps out, man. 2 reps. Yeah? Hold on. So on. 1, 2, 3. You're on. That's right. Okay, ref. Turn up there. Over there. Rest away now. Come on, get the fucking 2 this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Up. You're right. Come on. Come on now. Send it through the roof. Come on. Push. Right. Let's go. All the way, all the way, all the way. Push. Go. Good. All right.
I mean, first of all, you get a vibe just from watching I haven't watched training videos in a long time because I don't get much out of it, but the whole flair is it's just something else.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. It's a good reminder for us all to not be so close-minded and just think that, you know, there's only one way to skin a cat, or that we are somehow trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just not the case. Like everything that gets spoke about right now, it's stuff that has been done for almost over 20 years, 30 years.
30
so,
years,
man, quite literally 30 years now. It's crazy.
And I mean, also here, I mean, he was dropping the weight in the second rest pause set because he was getting only 1 rep in the first rest pause set, but he wasn't dropping enormous weight. He was dropping just enough weight to get into the target rep range and not to get 10 pump squeeze reps out of it.
Yep. Which is, again, keeping the loading heavy, staying in appropriate rep ranges, not doing crazy high reps. And most importantly, he isn't letting him break down in execution either.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a huge point. I still think people have got a massive misconception where in order to train hard, you have to train sloppy. And I am of a different opinion. I am of an opinion that training sloppy is actually much easier than training hard with good execution, because I'm not sure what your stance is on this, but I know myself, when I trained sloppy back in the day, it wasn't really hard. What is harder is training with tight execution, because the pain that you experience in the muscle tissue and the pain that you have to push through to get closer to failure is so much higher when you are training with good execution.
Yeah, and it's the mental effort that I just talked about that in a reel on Instagram yesterday. It's also the wrong perception of progress today, that every session and every set has to be extra reps and extra weight. How about trying to focus on your execution? How about if you have 2 or 3 weeks of stalling progress in terms of reps and weight, but you have a better connection, you have a better execution, you have better control, you have better movement quality.
It's progression.
That's the best and first progression that should be made before you increase any load or volume.
Also, if you have gotten to a point of certain loading on a certain exercise where you are unable to push past through it, I would argue stay on the same exercise if it still feels good, and simply adjust your rep range. Or, even better, adjust your position to potentially even get more range of motion and better execution, which is something I have done recently in my hack squat. It's like, I've built my weight all the way up to 5 plates on the gym Leckere hack, which is very, very fucking heavy. But then I was like, okay, what can I do now to get more from this? Well, put my lifting shoes back on and lower my foot stance.
Lower my foot stance out of it,
get more knee flexion. That's exactly what I did. So guess what now? I'm going to rework my weight back up to 5 plates with more knee flexion, a better foot stance, and even better quality reps. That is a progression itself.
And you will
People
get there.
often forget. Oh, 100%. And the thing is, and it's a conversation I had to have with one of my natty clients who just loves to lift heavy, but it's just, it's crazy. Like, he lifts heavy, but it's just all momentum. And I was like, look, if weight alone built muscle, you would be the biggest natty guy in the world. But fact of the matter is, do your lifts reflect your musculature? No. If your lifts do not reflect your musculature, we need to address your training.
Yeah.
It's not load itself that builds the muscle tissue. It's more so your ability to generate tension on that muscle as well. That will be the biggest difference. Otherwise, we're just lifting the load from A to B. And that's not how you truly make progress. I really don't think that. It's like when you compare some of the loads that like a lot of guys use that have gone from training sloppy to training tight, I would argue some guys are training lighter now and are way bigger than there was before training sloppy with higher weights.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
food for thought.
100%. Freunde, kleine Werbeunterbrechung und zwar für frische Kleidung fürs Gym und für den Lifestyle. Ab jetzt arbeite ich mit TEVEO zusammen, habe hier auch den neuen Tracksuit an. Schaut euch die Klamotten an. Es gibt mehr als nur Booty Scrunch Leggings. Natürlich, wisst ihr, für die Damen ist auch jede Menge vorhanden, aber auch für die Männer und auch für die mit etwas mehr Muskeln gibt's geile Kleidung. Die Qualität ist super. Der Fit ist wirklich nice. Dementsprechend schaut bei TEVEO vorbei. Ihr könnt ab jetzt mit Code Fabian10 immer den besten Preis bekommen und natürlich genau diesen Content supporten. In dem Sinne, viel Spaß. Weiter geht's. And last point I want to make is also regarding training sloppy. It's also as soon as you tell people to lower the rep range, it goes hand in hand with going sloppy. I mean, I don't say that you have to do it. It's a matter of choice, especially for isolation exercises. But you can do clean laterals, dumbbell, machine, cable, also with 5 reps. You just can't do them if you think you have to go sloppy and 5 reps. Then it goes to shit, but you can do perfect 5 clean reps. And I understand why that is one of the exercises where people say, hey, I prefer 8, 10, 10, 12. Perfectly fine, but it's doable. It's just a matter of your perception of how it has to look.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree.
All right. These English shirts are heavier than the American ones.
Not true. Feels like it.
Well, we're finished on that now. All right, go for another exercise, yeah? I'm just going to fucking put you through the paces today. I know I said it during the contest phase, but
I don't care.
I only did Temple Gym once, so.
Yeah. I've been in the bathroom for 4 days, so it's good to be out.
Yeah, man. Nice strict 8 reps, yeah? Just get into the movement. Squeeze.
These machines now are actually at Ultraflex North Leeds. So these machines are actually at my business partner's gym right now, Ultraflex North Leeds.
That's beautiful.
These exact machines, yeah. And honestly, they feel fucking incredible. Feel way different than new hammer strength stuff.
They're different. I had the opportunity to train at with the old plate-loaded iso row. The ones from the flex shootings where you just put the plates from top on the machine. It's also a whole different thing.
So these specific ones have actually been made for Dorian specifically. So the measurements of these are a little bit different.
Oh, okay. I have to try them once. At
Really
some
good.
point after my failed mission, I have to get over.
Yeah, you will. 100%.
And squeeze. Good. When you reach positive, you've still got negative strength left there because you got more strength in the negative phase. So let's just tax everything, you know?
Okay.
Your negative on there are very controlled, but here you like let it drop back a bit more.
Okay.
Maybe because it's a machine and you're getting more complacent with the machine because you know it's running on the tracks. The freeway you can't fuck about with it and you know, break your ribs. 1, 2, 3. Oh, really tight. Push. Good. 2, 3. Come on. 4. Let's go. 5. That's yours. Come on, man. Push. Squeeze. 1 more. Don't throw it. Go to the chest. Come on. 5. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Right. Slow now, yeah? Slow. Quiet it down. Quiet it down. Okay. Top. Yours. Hold it. Good, man. Good. No. 1 more there. Yep. All of those now. Tight. Fight it. Good. That's it. I'm finito.
And basically, you can also see it's just a different technique right now, right? I mean, it's then not going with rest pause sets, but basically going into kind of an eccentric overloading. And you can also see in the last rep, he was already helping back there. So you can see that the full range of motion was quite fatigued for the concentric phase at the end of the set.
Yep. But again, he's exhausted him all the way with just that one single set. So the stimulus is so much higher, but again, he's only doing one set.
Yeah.
So you can afford to train this way. If your intensity is high enough, your volume will need to be lowered. That is the difference between high volume and low volume. It's more so your intensity. The higher the proximity to failure or training past failure, you will need to lower the direct working number of sets.
Yeah.
If you are training further away from failure, that is when your direct working number of sets will need to increase to get the same response.
Absolutely. And I mean, if we are talking about this one, I mean, I don't integrate it into my training programs, but there is also a point to be made for eccentric overloading. I mean, we know that due to passive mechanical tension, we have, as Dorian said in the beginning, we have more power in the negative phase, but also we have, usually if we just fail at concentric and have space in the eccentric left, it's also because we get less activation in the eccentric phase until we bring it to failure. So theoretically, if there wouldn't be fatigue, if there wouldn't be muscle damage, then the most efficient thing you could do would be, just a second, got a call here, the most effective thing you could do would be eccentric overloading. It's just causing a ton of damage, and if you're causing a ton of damage, you also have to decrease the volume accordingly.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So, let's go.
Right,
Place them in. Slight bend on the arms. Up. Oh, yeah. Give that bend. Don't straighten your arms out. Good, like this. That's it. So this is just this is not moving. Yeah, it's just a hook, and you're pulling the hook from there, like that. Okay. Just flex. It's nice in the flex now. Yeah. Face. Bend your arms. Let's pull with the flex now. It's about out. That's good. Come on. Two. Three. Let's go. Four. Come on. 5. And again. Squeeze. Squeeze. One more. Come on. Let's roll. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Squeeze, cracks, all the way, all the way. We've got one there. We've got another one. That's it. That's it. Everything, man, everything. Squeeze. Squeeze. Come on. Last one then. Everything go. In the face. Squeeze. 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 Good. All right. Much better. How's that?
It's just totally different.
Yeah.
I normally do it, right?
Size.
I mean, also here you have to take into account he was failing at the top of the rep also with a heavily stretch overloaded exercise. So it's also basically what we have seen it on the hammer strength press. We have seen it now on the flies, which are heavily accentuated resistance profile, with the hammer strength being very much ascending, with the flies being very much descending, and still bringing it to failure on both of these. I mean, I don't know, most people, I assume, watching this haven't done dumbbell flies in a while because it's not cool anymore, but try it out and see how far you have to get to fail up here, where you have almost no resistance left.
Yeah, honestly, he's almost creating like a cable fly almost out of a dumbbell, the way he's spotting him. Yeah. Especially the way he's moving. And look at the way he's spotting as well, guys. He's not grabbing his hands, he's grabbing his elbows. What do we teach and cue on any cable fly or chest exercise, Fabi?
Yeah, bring the elbows together, not the hands. Yeah.
And what's Dorian forcing him to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Driving the elbows together, right?
And also here, for example, leaving a slight bend in the arm also because it's better for the biceps tendon. There is also so much intricate stuff there that isn't even mentioned, that it's just on automatic process for him to do and to cue. So let's go.
Isolating, yeah.
Effective loose.
Oh, I like them loose better like that.
Yeah.
For some reason.
But they won't. They're not gonna come apart.
No, they're not going to come apart. Hopefully not, anyway. Otherwise you'll be suing me. I know, you Americans are like, man.
Yeah.
Sue you for anything. I just, you know, not that you're doing it wrong. It's not like a right or wrong, but I think that's, you know, the whole point of doing a fly is to try and isolate the pecs as much as you can. Keep the triceps out of it. So
Duplicating it.
it's like a fly press, you're doing half and half, so. Just keep the arms bent and keep the triceps out of it a little bit more. You're isolating, isolate the pecs a bit more. We'll do set cables to finish. Same thing, the arms are bent, yeah? So just pulling from here with the pecs. Down and across, squeeze there, hold the contraction. Yeah, one shot, let's see what we can do. Squeeze at that bottom position, in the peak position.
And I mean, also before we get into it, I mean, it's also implicit covering of the angles. Slight incline press, flat press, incline fly, and more or less with this version here, decline fly. It's also just complementing each other. I mean, from the outside, it just looks like a random exercise selection of press and flies. No, it's also a system behind that to cover angles.
He's literally covering all bases. But another thing to note as well, I actually watched a video of Dorian training Andrew Huberman the other day. And I was always intrigued. And Dorian actually does the same thing for back training. Starts with a lower lat, mid lat, upper back. And he actually works in that sequence. Pull over, single arm pull down, single arm row, and then upper back row. So he's literally ticking off all the boxes. And again, he's working in this plane of motion, and again, then upper back, abducting the arm up to the side. So it's like everything Dorian explains around training is exactly what we preach, even with the back training, with push training, the angles, arm path, exercise setup, execution. Even when he's breaking down the execution here, he's telling to control them ranges. He's saying, look, pause, but he's not saying spend excessive time in the shortened range. Yeah. He's saying contract, pause, and then back into the stretch. And again, pause and drive through the pec, keeping that upper arm bent, taking your biceps, taking your tricep out of it. I mean, it's all very much applicable to what we should be doing now and what we should all be really mimicking as well, to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go, tight. Good. A bit more stretch. Nice. Good. Muscular bottom there, contract it, come on. Squeeze. All right, keep squeezing, keep squeezing. One more, let's go. Squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in. All right, squeeze, squeeze. Yeah, okay. All right, man. It's good enough. Take a little rest and we'll do biceps in a minute.
All right, the machine is what?
Yeah, this is the old Nautilus. So you get the full range, very isolated. And then if we do the barbell after this, you know, you're going to inevitably...
Besides the somewhat light stack, that's still also such a brilliant machine. So until today, I would also say it's been a while since I've done the old Nautilus machine, but it's also such a great piece still.
This piece, in fact, is a very, very heavy stack, though.
Okay.
They have that machine in one of the gyms, and it's a very, very heavy stack.
Okay.
Same with the standing calf raise. It's got like I'm pretty sure much the stack is like, it's ridiculous. It's one of the heaviest standing calf raises I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, it's crazy.
You're going to kick in a bit of shoulders and maybe a little lower back and everything, but it's not going to matter because your biceps are going to be so exhausted from this. So even if other muscle groups are coming into play, the biceps are going to be getting the brunt of the work. So I find that works better.
All right.
Good. 3, 4, tight. 5. Come on, start working. 4, yours. 6. More fucking effort. Come on, go. 7, easy. 4. Squeeze. 8. 2 more reps, man. 2 more. Let's go. 4. Squeeze. 1 more. Let's go. Retract. Pick it up. Squeeze. All the way. Keep pulling. Squeeze. Slow negative. One more. Sit back down. Tight. You got 1 in there. Up. Yours. Okay. That's it.
And again, I think that's something also maybe we have contributed our fair share, that people don't know how this feels, because you don't get to experience eccentric failure when you're doing straight sets without intensifiers only. And eccentric failure in terms of fatigue, but also in terms of effort, is a whole different thing. And so in the end, what he's done here, I mean, he's also strategically using it, right? I mean, he has used it for some of the exercises, for the hammer strength flat press, and right now for the one exercise of biceps, but it's also not eccentric failure in every exercise, but rather targeted.
Absolutely. It's always in exercises that it's safe to do in.
Yeah.
And exercises where I would argue the resistance profile also allows you, or I would say it's preferential to do it within that exercise because of the resistance profile it actually has.
Yeah, because it's also this machine. I mean, we have seen it here with the sticking point of mark, and we've also seen it with the hammer strength press. It's basically contraction overload, and first he's assisting him to overload the shortest part. And I would also make an argument here that, as you mentioned in the beginning, forced reps, forcing someone only into this short position failure is a whole different story in terms of muscle damage than forcing someone into stretch position failure.
Like I said, this way. Squeeze. Yeah, that's you. Come on. All yours. This one's yours. All the way. Squeeze it up. And again. All the way. Yours. 2 more. Let's see it. Well. Come on. Squeeze. Squeeze it in. 1 more. Let's work. 4. Squeeze. Track the bicep. Track it. Come on. Peak. Slow. 1 more. Up. Hold it there. Last one. Maximum effort. Come on. Squeeze. Very good. Good job, man. Okay. We'll move to barbell now. Even if you cheat a little bit on this one, it's okay, because you've isolated it so much on that, the biceps are going to be exhausted, you know. Right. So even if you get a little shoulder and lower back coming on when it gets really heavy. Good. Pretty tough, after that one.
He actually...
in America, like dimes and...
He actually puts a way too heavy weight on this, but I think it's going to be worth watching and what he actually does. Again, okay. what you mentioned earlier, the load is going to be way too heavy, but he's literally dropping off this much off just to, again, keep him moving and keep the reps going. So across this entire session, you don't see Mark going anything above 10 repetitions on anything, apart from maybe on a single curl. But that's, again, he probably failed at he actually failed at rep number 6. He started getting assisted reps at rep number 7. So you can probably count some of the repetitions like half reps anyway. So it's, it's good shit.
Freunde, ihr habt mich immer wieder nach einer vernünftigen Empfehlung für ein Walking Pad gefragt. Das war so eine der am meisten gestellten Fragen für Produktempfehlungen und ich war nie happy, irgendwas wirklich zu empfehlen, weil ich zig verschiedene Laufbänder von irgendwelchen unbekannten China-Herstellern auf Amazon selbst getestet und auch bei Athleten getestet habe. Das hat sich jetzt geändert, weil ich stehe hier auf einem Laufband von MOOVV. Das ist eine holländische Firma. Dieses Laufband ist wirklich in der Qualität top. Es ist eine unglaublich angenehme Dämpfung, es ist hochwertig, ihr habt einen echten Kundenservice, einen echten Ansprechpartner. Die Preise sind super gut für die Qualität, die ihr bekommt und ihr könnt mit Code Fabian 10% sparen. Das Laufband, auf dem ich hier stehe, ist die Incline-Version, das heißt, dieses Laufband kann man auch auf 6% Steigerung einstellen. Man kann bis zu 12 km/h darauf laufen, das heißt, ihr könnt sogar euer Cardio darauf machen, wenn ihr wollt. Und ihr habt hier eine super kompakte und vor allem super leise Version. Ihr hört es hier nicht, nämlich es ist eine Betriebslautstärke von 50 Dezibel höchstens. Dementsprechend super angenehm zu laufen, super leise, super kompakt. Mit Code Fabian gibt es 10% auf alle Laufbänder bei MOOVV. Ihr findet den Link zu MOOVV unten in der Videobeschreibung. Schaut auf jeden Fall vorbei und wenn ihr Fragen habt, könnt ihr mir natürlich wie immer gerne Bescheid sagen. Jetzt geht's weiter. I think we can cut it here for the essence of it or anything. No, but because
on this video, no. But any of the viewers that are interested, he actually did a video with Andrew Huberman, taking him for a pull workout, and it's like the exercise sequence, the exercise selection, and the way he breaks everything down with different targeting different lat divisions. This is everything that we very often get ridiculed by people that are just, I would probably say, ignorant to just being open-minded and understanding that, yes. And one big point Dorian actually says is when he was telling Andrew, oh, now we're going to finish an upper back cable row, and I want you to keep your elbows, flared out, and you are going to target your rhomboids, trapezius, and the upper back. But he said, this now will only target my upper back a little bit more. But you have to remember, you cannot isolate your back. It all works no matter what exercise you do. That's exactly what it said, which is very true. Like we have all these different movements that will bias or target different divisions of your back. But fact of the matter is, your entire back always works, is that one portion over another will work more than the other. And that's literally what Dorian said in that video. And I was like, people underestimate how smart he actually was.
Yeah.
Because all of the shit that he's saying is everything that we say now, or everything, shall we say, that is evidence-based and everything that everyone always preaches from more so research standpoint as well.
Because you can also watch and confirm stuff like that just by watching athletes train. I mean, if you have someone who is very lat dominant, if you tell him to do this degree of abduction when he is not standardized perfectly, the arms will go down, 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 down during the set to give better leverage to the lat. Other way around, weak lat, strong traps. They are starting here to row and they are going out, 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 out. So that's just confirmation of what we are seeing here. And it's also just being somewhat precise. I mean, it's also just another example for what you just said. I mean, it's also in leg training. I mean, you can make a theoretical argument that a deep stretch would be more medialis and a more mid-range rolling would be more lateralis. Your body doesn't give a shit. If your medialis is the strongest part of your quads, then no leverage will bias the lateralis more, because the body will say, okay, thank you, I will do the muscle that is strongest and most appropriate to do the job. And so this kind of differentiating, and also something I remember that also, if I remember it correctly, Dorian was also strategically increasing his walks with his dog during prep, which is nothing else but step count. It's nothing else but increasing step count.
Dorian actually said his cardio was he's walking with the dog. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
He also said as he got deeper into prep, he posed more. So he would walk his dog and then pose for 45 minutes. Guess what?
Yeah.
That's calorie expenditure.
And that's also something that I've implemented with athletes. I have to say credits off to John Jewett, because he gave me the inspiration first, just to implement fixed route of posings, because you make the athlete more accountable to do the posing, and also you have something comparable to cardio, especially if it's a heavy athlete, and then it's also such a sweet thing to do. So for everyone who's on prep at the moment, maybe just try to increase your posing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It works a treat. And look, if you pose hard enough, it's going to be like cardio. Yeah. And you don't really need to, I mean, I'm not sure about you, but with majority of my bigger guys, and to be honest, most of my athletes, 99% of athletes, I don't really have any of them do cardio in prep, and they all get fucking peeled inside out. Some instances you will have to have cardio in for the guys that don't have time for steps, for example, people that have got normal jobs, yes. But in most instances, you can prep with just steps alone, especially if you have gone through a proper pre-prep phase. And a lot of things Dorian actually said, even back in the day, he didn't really get out of shape. He did cardio year round, as in his dog walking, or some bike work. But again, all the stuff that we do with nutrition and nutritional changes as well. When Dorian speaks about nutrition, it's very often small changes incrementally going up and small changes going down. It's not like, some coaches say that, you know, when they give someone a food increase, they give like a 500 calorie food increase. I'm like, fucking hell, 500 calories in one, especially in an off season. I mean, that would be an appropriate food increase off the back of a prep, not just a random food increase in an off season, right? And same coming down, if someone's tracking all variables, you don't need to make such big changes to see a response, unless someone is very inconsistent with their intake, then fair enough. But again, I would probably try and fix the inconsistency, which is probably costing them progress anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I had this discussion with a few other guys. I would make an argument that for especially the heavily muscled guys, I would rather use more fat burners than more cardio.
To a degree.
To a sensible degree, of course, not putting them on 160 clen or some bullshit like that. but overall, I mean, there is, and coming back to the basics, I mean, Dorian had it all documented. He was also vividly mentioning that he was reading, that he was learning, that he was taking his time to understand. And I mean, he was never citing his resources, but I mean, from everything you see, the sources had to be scientific literature, because what did you have back then? You had either flex or physiology. There is nothing in between. You didn't have forums or something like that.
He did study because he mentions very often in podcasts that he would be reading books, he would be educating himself. So, and listen, all of that knowledge didn't come from nothing. Like, he needed to have been reading something to gain the knowledge that he had. Like, that's without a shadow of a doubt. It's 100% something he needed to learn. Absolutely. So, man, it's a lot of it is so applicable. It really is.
And so, I mean, in the end, it all comes down to everyone listening. I mean, I would say there is not reinventing the wheel. There is somewhat improving the wheel, and you can make the timeline from Arthur Jones to Mike Manson to Dorian Yates to Dan to Trudell, and maybe to a certain degree, not giving any ego into it, but to people like us trying to bring these ideas further forward. But the founders and their ideas are still pretty much the same. And the differences are quite small.
I completely agree. And it's, listen, man, at the end of the day, like we spoke about in our last podcast, right? It all works until it doesn't. You have to get into a spot where in order to keep adapting and progressing, you will need to either do something more calculated, or you will simply need to put more effort in, or simply work smarter, or a mixture of it all. You'll have to put more effort in and work smarter and harder across the board.
Absolutely. So I think it's a great takeaway for everyone. And by the way, if you guys have any other good video ideas, I mean, we can also maybe do it the other way around and look at something that is completely against our faiths and beliefs. So whatever, you guys can just let us know. Also, always happy about the feedback. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. It's also I knew what was coming roughly, but I was surprised about the precision it was coming with.
I bet you was, because when I watched that video, I was actually sat in my sauna watching the video, and I was watching it, I was like, what? he's just so on point, man. I loved it. So
it's crazy. So thanks for your time, Kuba. I always enjoyed it much, and I would say we see us anyway soon. So thanks to all you guys for watching, and yeah, let's get back into it.
Appreciate you all, and make sure you subscribe and comment below. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Give us your input.
Guys, if you have made it to the very end, comment Dorian below, and we'll know who the real OGs are. We'll know who made it to the very end.
That's a good idea. Let's do it. Put Dorian in the comments.
Yes,
See you
sir.
soon, guys.